It's called Vader Motivation. At lunchtime today, Venerable Samten was telling some of us about our neighbor putting up a feed station for deer or turkey together with a camera that discerned motion, and they had like a dugout place where they could wait for the animals with their guns. And my mind immediately went to the deer and how terrible it would be if any of our deer were killed. But it was also, the dugout was also, and the feeder were also for the turkeys. And my mind kind of thought, well, the turkeys don't matter so much, the deer are more important. And then I realized, gee, that's completely against the equanimity meditation. I was feeling closer to the deer because we have more human-like interaction with a few of them, whereas not so much, quote, quote, personal connection with the turkeys. And I thought, but both the turkeys and the deer, they all equally want happiness and don't want suffering. And then when I was walking down the path in the afternoon, and all the grasshoppers were jumping, hopping all over the place, as we all know. And to watch how the mind kind of puts less emphasis on the grasshoppers. I mean, we don't want to kill them, but if one got killed, it wouldn't be the same kind of pain as if the deer got killed. And again, that's not really suitable, because the grasshoppers equally have the potential to become Buddhas. They equally want happiness and not suffering. And so just in these simple daily examples, to see how much bias comes in, attachment to some beings, apathy to others, even aversion maybe to the spiders, the ticks. How about some people in there? And how really that kind of judgment is not seeing things clearly. It's really quite partial and not in line with a bodhisattva's way of thinking. And so to really look past external appearances and what form a living being happens to be born into in this life, and what their mental state is in this life, and instead recognize that all these people right now are just a reflection of their karma, but they all equally have the clear light nature of the mind, and all equally have the same potential, and all equally have been kind to me and will be kind to me. And so in that way, level the playing field, broaden the scope of the mind, look beyond appearances. Don't get stuck in appearances. And in this way, then, try to cultivate love and compassion for all these living beings equally and generate the great resolve to attain full awakening for them equally, and the bodhicitta as well. Okay. Do you have your homework? You want to put some of it up?
So I picked something that I'm interested in. Last time you said
Yeah, you need the first line.
to pick something, well, more interesting to you or something, and this is a topic that interests me. So I haven't figured it out yet, but I gave it a shot. So the challenger starts off with we're in the middle of something, and he's taking a defender's view and says, it follows that the subject, the Atman, is not an existent. Well, actually, that's what he thinks. And then the defender says, why? Why is the Atman not an existent? And then he says, well, then it follows that the Atman isn't existent. And the defender accepts, because that's his position. And then the challenger says, give a reason justifying that the Atman isn't existent. And the defender says, the Atman is existent because it's a generality, which is a belief that they have in their system that posits an Atman. So then the challenger says, it follows that the Atman is not an existent because it is not a generality. And then the defender says, the reason is not established. So all the ones in bold are the 5 things that we're trying to include. That's why they're in bold. I didn't get all 5, but I think I got 4. So let's see, the reason is not established that an Atman is not a generality. So then the challenger says, it follows that the Atman is a generality. And then the defender says, I accept that the Atman is a generality, because he's got to get them to say these things so that then he can shoot them down. So then the challenger says, give a reason justifying the Atman as a generality. And then the defender puts out their point of view, which is, because there is a generality, like the Atman, above and beyond the instances, all the parts of the body and mind. That is, the generality, the Atman, is a different essence from its instances. This is a belief that they hold. So then the challenger says, it follows that whatever is a generality is necessarily not a different essence from its instances, because that's what they're holding there. And necessarily, oh no, that's our view. And so then the defender doesn't believe that. He says, no, the privation is opposite. So then the challenger says, it follows that whatever is a generality is necessarily.
Can you go a little bit slowly?
Sure.
I'm still
okay.
up with.
The one above the privation is opposite?
Yeah, because there's a generality, the Atman above and beyond its instances, okay. That generality is a different essence from its instances. So that's what the opponent believes, okay.
Yeah, that's what the opponent believes.
And then the challenger says it follows that whatever is a generality
is necessarily not a different essence. So he's now correcting him.
Okay, but let's look at, because there's a generality.
That's the second half of his statement. The defender gave his reason justifying that the Atman is a generality. Mm-hmm. And so then the challenger picked the second half of his reason because he didn't want to do both at once. Mm-hmm. So then he says, okay, then he corrects him. He says, no, it follows that whatever is a generality is necessarily not a different essence from its instances. That's the Buddhist worldview. Mm-hmm. And then the defender doesn't agree. So in effect, he thinks the opposite. So he says the privation is opposite. You're following that?
Meaning that,
Meaning that generality and its instances are different essences.
meaning that
Whatever is a generality is not necessarily, it is necessarily not, well, I don't know how to say that. I only know how to say
whatever
it.
is a generality is not necessarily not a different essence.
Yeah.
So
I got rid of the.
So whatever
Is
is
different
a
from his
generality
essences.
is
Different, is necessarily different from his essences.
a different entity or just different? Because they're
Different essence from its instances.
an essence, okay.
Yeah. Because the Buddhist belief is that generalities and instances are the same
Are the same
essence.
nature, yeah.
Yeah. So that's kind of the point. This is the real kind of point that I'm trying to get to. So that's why he says the pervasion is opposite, because this is where they actually have different views. So then the challenger goes back and says, it follows that whatever is a generality is necessarily not a different essence from its instances, because instances and their generalities are related.
Not everything that is related is necessarily
Related by
the
essence.
same essence.
That's true, but but essences and their generalities are related.
Yeah.
And so but not everything is, but he's not picking that part.
So you're saying because
I'm not saying that they're,
I'm
whatever's,
just trying to figure out what you're saying first before we argue it.
okay,
So you're saying because instances. Okay, so you're saying instances in general, because instances from its because instances generalities. So you're saying because it follows that because instances and their generalities are related, therefore a generality is necessarily the same essence as its instances. Is that what you're saying?
well, there's other kinds of ways of being related. There's two ways.
Yeah.
So
That's
maybe
what
that's,
I'm getting at.
yeah. Well, in my next stab at it, I kind of put those two together, but in this one, I was trying just to go against his statement up above and showing that they were related.
But
And things that are,
instead of just saying mere related, you should say that they are one essence. They are one nature.
well, the problem with that is you're saying that something is an essence because it's an essence. These things are related as
You're
essence
saying
because
that they're not a different essence, that they're because the instances and their generalities are the same nature, they are necessarily not different natures.
what I'm saying is that the reason I'm giving to prove that generalities and instances are not different essences is because they're related.
And I'm saying there's no pervasion.
Well, I'm saying there could be four possibilities. That doesn't work though.
Yeah,
does it?
but with four possibilities doesn't work when you're
Okay.
trying to
So
produce,
then I have to say because they're
pervasion. related
as, that's so weak in my mind. To say they're related as the same essence, it's kind of like I guess that's what you have to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
and then you have to show why they are the same essence
Yeah.
or the same nature.
Well, I think that's why I went on to
Same
try to
essences, I don't like that vocabulary. It implies like an inherently existent
I know,
essence.
it's just the words that I took it from the
Yeah.
original debate book.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I would have to say that I agree with you. They're related as the same nature is fine.
Yeah.
And so then, I'm not sure if the next part works. Then the Devendra then says, why? It would be
Yeah.
why are instances and their generality related as the same essence? And then the challenger says, it follows that instances and their generalities are related as the same essence. Because if they weren't related, they would be simultaneous. This is the proof. This is how it actually gets proven. I haven't really worked it out yet in my mind.
Simultaneous different entities. Well, we could separate them from each other.
You could have the generality in one place over here, and then all the
Right.
parts of like.
Right, but that's because they're related by being one nature, not just because they're related.
Yeah, so.
Because they could be related. Relation includes by cause and
Yeah,
effect.
I agree. So everywhere where it says related has to be related as the same essence, same
it means
nature.
They have to. Yeah, you have to
Right.
put in the same nature.
Everywhere where it says that. So then that's the point. That's that kind of the crux of it. It follows that instances and their generalities are related as the same nature, because if they weren't, they wouldn't be simultaneously different entities. They would be simultaneously different entities, and then we could separate them from each other. For example, you could have the generality table over here and all the table parts over there.
But that's agreed. That's exactly what the opponent will agree upon.
I know. This is why I haven't figured out how to refute his view
They'll
yet.
say, yes, you're right. That's why the Atman exists.
I know.
And why it's different from the body and mind.
I know. I got to the end and I realized I've only proved his point.
Yeah.
They still haven't proved each other. I haven't disproved anyone's or proved anyone's.
Yeah, you can't. You have to, instead of saying because if they weren't, I think you have to give a positive reason. You know, why are they related?
Well, I haven't found one yet. I mean, I'm reading in the book to try to find it.
Because the person is designated in dependence on the body and mind.
So?
Yeah, well,
why? So what?
Yeah, so then you can't have an Atman that's a different entity from the body and mind, because the person is designated in dependence on the body.
What's the relationship between the person and the Atman?
Well, Atman can mean person. See, because they're trying to say, there's a permanent, partless, independent person.
Right.
Yeah, and you're saying, no, the person can't be permanent. Well, maybe you should approach it that way and say there's no such thing as a permanent, partless, independent person because.
See, because the thing is they would already probably accept that the person or the Atman they do accept that the person Atman is different from the body and mind. So now, once again, we're proving what they already believe.
Right, no, but you've got, because the person is designated in dependence on the body and mind, then they can't be different entities.
But they don't accept that first. They don't accept your reason. They don't accept that the person is designated. Yeah. Because if you're saying the person is the Atman, they don't accept that the Atman is necessarily, I don't think they accept that the Atman is designated in the body and mind.
Okay, then take their three characteristics of what an Atman is and refute at least one of those.
Okay, I'll go there next.
Yeah.
I got to the end and I realized I had proved their point.
Yeah.
The only way I could do it was I could take the Buddhist
definition. But remember, when they say Atman, they're referring to a person. To the person.
Independent, partless.
Independent,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try that way next.
Yeah.
And could you go with, is the person the body or the mind? And is it one with or different from? Could you not go with that argument here?
You could, but they would say, the person is a different nature than the body and a different nature than the mind. So then you have.
Why say the person?
Then you have to say that, if that's the case, then what does an Atman do?
Right. See, because
why do you need an Atman?
The thing that I put up there with the simultaneous different entities, this is the reason they gave in the debate book.
Because they would be simultaneous, different, yeah.
Yeah, and so for me, I wrote that out here. I'm like, well, why does that refute their view. That's actually what they believe.
Yeah, that
but
is
then
what
the
they
thing is, if you
believe.
do it with an example that they might accept, like a table, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that person would say that there's a table over here and the parts of the table over there.
Right.
So that's why I thought, well, maybe that would work.
Yeah. I mean, if you gave the example that just as a table is designated in dependence on the parts of the table, yeah, or the basis of designation of the table, so the person is designated in dependence on its basis of designation. Yeah. Yeah. Or, well,
Now, you've taken it to the generality and instances and trying to prove their relationship.
yeah.
That's what I was trying to do, and I never succeeded, actually.
Yeah, well, they're saying, okay, that the Atman is the generality and the body and mind are the instances. They aren't really the instances.
But that's what it boils down to.
No.
If they say, well, unless they have a completely different conception of generality.
Yeah, I think they might. Because for us, generality would be like the name of the category,
Yeah.
and then the types of things that fit that category would be the instances.
Right.
And you wouldn't call a body or a mind an instance of a person.
But I don't know, because in both the debate book and in Anne Klein's book, this is a big point. This is, they explain it in both of them, and I was
Okay.
hoping I'd get to a place where I could.
Yeah, maybe we have to find out exactly what they mean by generality and instance.
Yeah, because maybe they have different ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, because I'm trying to remember, it came up in Pramnavartika. Remember? Yeah, that there was a
don't know.
whole,
Yeah.
the whole and
Whole
the
and
parts.
Yeah, that comes up in the debate book too. But
Yeah.
to me, I couldn't make
So
the
whole
connection.
and parts works much better than
Yes.
generality and instance.
I thought so too, but then I couldn't make the transition. Like I'd have to start the argument differently.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't figure out how to tie the whole thing together, to tell you the truth. But I feel a little closer than I did a year ago.
Okay.
So, it follows the subject. The Abbey riding lawnmower is an ultimate truth because it is a phenomenon that is ultimately able to perform a function.
Really? Today, is it an ultimate truth? Or is it function? If it's broken, is it no longer an ultimate truth?
It's not broken. We just haven't picked it up yet.
Oh, okay.
The reason that the Abbey riding lawnmower is an ultimate truth is not established.
So it follows that the Abbey's riding lawnmower is not an ultimate truth.
I accept that the Abbey's riding lawnmower is not an ultimate truth.
Give a reason justifying that the subject, the Abbey's riding lawnmower, is not an ultimate truth.
It follows that the Abbey's riding lawnmower is not an ultimate truth because an ultimate truth is a phenomenon that can perform a function, and the Abbey's riding lawnmower is unable to perform its function, which is to mow the lawn.
Okay, then let me continue. Then it follows that the Abbey's lawn mower is a conventional truth.
We accept.
The Abbey's lawnmower is not a conventional truth. Yeah, well, give a reason why the Abbey's lawnmower is not a conventional truth. Or is a did I say is or is not? Is not, okay, give a reason why it's not a conventional truth.
The Abbey's lawnmower is not a conventional truth because it's an alternate truth.
No, give a better answer.
That's my answer.
Why is it an ultimate truth?
The Abbey's lawnmower is an ultimate truth because it is able to perform the function of being fixed if they can do it by the people at Bonner Saw.
Okay, if the Abbey's lawnmower is not capable of being fixed, okay, I'm saying something new. The Abbey's lawnmower, which is not capable of being fixed, No, you don't have the point yet. Okay, the Abbey's lawnmower, which is not capable of being fixed, is a conventional truth. Then what do you say?
Why?
Why? Oh, okay. Because the Abbey's lawnmower that is not capable of being fixed is a conventional truth because it is a product. No, you can't just say, because that's what she just said before. You know, it's not a conventional truth because it's all you're not getting into the meaning. Yeah.
So
Okay.
the reason the reason is established because the lawnmower is a product, so it's the privation is opposite. Yes.
No, you have to. No, I said that. No, you have to say I accept because I said the Abbey's lawnmower, which is not capable of being fixed, is a conventional truth because it's a product.
Privation.
Oh, okay, okay,
Privation
yeah,
is
the
opposite.
privation is opposite.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, yes, sorry. Yeah, so the privation's opposite. Okay. So then what do I say? The Abbey's lawnmower is not capable of being fixed is an ultimate truth.
I accept.
Why? Give a reason why it's an ultimate truth.
Because it can perform the function of collecting dust.
Function of producing the next moment of a broken lawnmower.
That's it. Okay.
It's not a non-existent.
No,
Lawnmower?
no, the lawnmower that is incapable of being fixed. So, yeah.
It follows that the Abbey's riding lawnmower is a composed phenomenon because it is a disintegrating phenomenon.
There is no pervasion. That is, it is not the case that whatever is a disintegrating phenomenon is necessarily a composed phenomenon.
So it follows that it is not the case that whatever is a disintegrating phenomenon is necessarily not a composed phenomenon.
I accept. That is, it is not the case that whatever is a disintegrating phenomenon is not necessarily a composed phenomenon.
It follows that lack of privation does not exist. If it exists, posit something that is a disintegrating phenomenon and is also something other than a composed phenomenon.
Yeah. Okay. I did the suicide one. Yeah. No, did the one about suicide.
Yeah, they're extra lots.
What? It's necessarily not. This is not the case that whatever is. Yeah, I mean,
In the second statement that the defender says, the question.
yeah.
I thought she was reading this, that the statement that the defender says, then the third line down where the challenger says was going to repeat that so that the defender could then accept it. But then she changed it. She had an extra not in there, which, I think I would leave that. Let's see. I would leave that one and take out the next not.
You don't even need this. You're repeating back what is the non-provision, right?
So it follows that whatever is a distinct phenomenon is.
It's not necessarily a composed
Not necessarily.
Yeah. Oh.
That's no provision. Whatever is P is not necessarily A. Is this correct?
Yeah, that one where it says So it follows that whatever is a disintegrating phenomena is not necessarily a composed phenomena. That's incorrect. Okay, and then the defender repeats it back. I accept that it is that whatever is a disintegrating phenomena is
Yeah, she already had the not there. Yeah.
is not necessarily a composed phenomenon. So the defender repeated back something that's wrong. And then the challenger says, it follows that the lack of privation does not exist. If it exists, posits something that is a disintegrating phenomena and is also something other than a composed phenomenon.
But how does
So
that
that's
work
good.
then if you talk about it is not the case? Because now you're saying, now there's no lack of privation. You've
Yeah.
accepted a privation.
So false is
So now you
not
can't,
the
well, how can you
case.
say there's a lack of privation? You're just accepting all these privations that are wrong.
I need to think just a second.
Challenger hasn't accepted the motivation. She's just tired of that, and now she's.
The defender accepted that in the next to last line, it says that defender is accepting that whatever is a disintegrating phenomena is not necessarily a composed phenomena. So that is a privation that the defender is accepting.
No, it's
And-
not. No, second.
It's a statement of lack of provision of the first statement.
Yeah, the challenger set forth a statement, the defender no privation, and then the challenger just repeats it. The defender accepts his position again. Then the challenger says, "Well, no. The lack of privation does not exist."
Yeah.
So
There.
Hard time understanding that from that next to last statement.
Okay. So the next to last one is saying that he's accepting that whatever is a disintegrating phenomena is not necessarily a composed phenomena.
Which is why
So is that accurate?
I get that part. I don't get the structure of the conversation.
points like the second C and D could basically just be eliminated. They're just an affirmation of what the defender has said. You could take out the third and fourth points and just jump to the last one. And then I think that makes it easy to understand because the third and fourth point are just repeating what's the defender's position.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because they have to get him to say that. Yeah, yeah, you just, I have to, in my mind, just carry it forward. Okay, I get it now.
Yeah, there's a lot of repetition in the debate. Yeah. Gives you time to think about it.
Maybe this is kind of like a stalling technique,
Yeah.
a little bit.
To get more time?
I think it's to get him to say.
Really commit to what they're.
You're right. Yeah.
Really have a good self.
Yeah.
you want to make, it's getting them to commit to what the consequence of their doing of evasion is. Because the defender doesn't say the part in parentheses. The part in parentheses is not being actually said by the defendant.
Right.
And so then the challenger says it out so that then the defender accepts it, which is contrary to the pervasion in the first statement. And then I think that's why the third and fourth are needed there.
Want to go on to the next one? The pervasion is opposite.
It follows that the mind of a person who suicides is not an erroneous mind, because the mind of that person sincerely believes that suicide is the end of suffering.
The privation is opposite. That is, the mind of a person who sincerely believes suicide is the end of suffering is necessarily an erroneous mind.
It follows that the mind of a person who sincerely believes suicide is the end of suffering is necessarily an erroneous mind.
I accept.
Give a reason justifying that the mind of a person who sincerely believes suicide is the end of suffering is necessarily an erroneous mind.
Because the mind of a person who sincerely believes suicide is the end of suffering is under the control of the three kinds of dukkha: dukkha of pain, mental suffering, dukkha of change, believing that which is the nature of dukkha, suicide, is happiness, and all-pervasive conditioned dukkha. That mind that believes suicide is the end of suffering is under the control of afflictions and karma.
So just proving that that something, is it a privation? That if something is the three kinds of suffering, that it is necessarily a wrong conception? No. No. That doesn't work. She gave a good reason, but the reason doesn't prove what she wants to say. Okay? So how would you say, you would say, because the mind of a person who sincerely believes suicide is the end of suffering, and what's your reason going to be for why it's an erroneous mind? Is an erroneous mind because...
Because even after death, they're still going to be reborn and suffer.
Yeah. Yeah. Because suicide, is not an end of suffering. Why? And then you say, because the person will be reborn and the dukkha continues. Yeah. One inmate that I was writing to told me at one point he was very, very depressed when he was just new to Buddhism and he thought of suiciding. And then he realized he would just be reborn. And so he decided not to suicide. So he had the correct reason.
The mind of the person will be reborn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's necessarily an erroneous mind because because suicide's not the end of suffering. Why? Yeah, suicide is not the end of suffering because the person will be reborn. So you need another step in there.
That's all we need is to agree with the subject.
Yeah.
Say the mind does not believe in rebirth, therefore it's erroneous.
But
Because it is a mind that doesn't believe in rebirth.
I'd say because it's a mind that holds an erroneous view because it is a mind that doesn't believe in rebirth.
I don't think the reason is not, that's the reason it's not said. Doesn't believe in rebirth, doesn't understand rebirth.
Yeah. Mm.
There's a difference.
Or does not understand that the person will be reborn and dukkha will continue. As erroneous mind, because it is a mind, that doesn't understand the person will be reborn and the dukkha will continue. Yeah. Okay. Then, if you're doing a debate with somebody who doesn't believe in rebirth, then they're going to say, the reason is not established. And then you're going to have to prove and go back and prove that the mind is reborn and dukkha continues. Yeah, so how are you going to do that? Because Dharmakirti said so. Yeah, here, read chapter 2. I'm going to have some tea. Yeah, but this is exactly where, Dharmakirti's, everything we went through. Yeah. So it would be good to debate, why is, the last, because Dharmakirti says, the mind of the person at the last moment, at the time of death, has a continuum in the next life because it's a mind with attachment. Okay. Most people are going to go, what? What? How come a mind of attachment is, going to make something have a future life, So that's a little bit complicated. It might be, I wonder if it would be easier just to say it's a mind of the person at the last moment of this life is going to have a future continuum because it is a how would you say that? Because it produces a similar result in the next moment. Yeah. What? Yeah. Oh, good. Yeah. Let's get rid of the homogenes. Okay. Because it produces a result that is, that is of a similar type in the next moment. And then you have to go through and prove why it produces a result of a similar type in the next moment. And there, you would probably then, given as an example, our mind in this life producing in the very next moment a mind of, of the similar type. Next. What? Yeah.
There was no antidote or power that could destroy the mind.
Yeah, that would be another one for you said because it has a result of it that is of a similar type, and the person says reason is not established, and then you would say, that there's nothing that can destroy it, that the mind of the last moment of a mind of a person in this lifetime necessarily has a result that is of the similar type because there's nothing that can stop the continuity of the mind. And then the person is going to say, why? Then what do you say?
Then you say the opposite of that and tell them to give you a reason just to justify.
Because it doesn't make sense to me.
And if they're not ready to accept this yet, there's nothing we can say. Right?
Yeah. Unless you can keep trying, but sometimes, the person can't see the illogic in their own view. That, yeah, that would be what Dan Perdue would call somebody that you don't want to debate with. Yeah. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't be a debate anyways, because of the epistemological reason, the person doesn't want to hear it, so the debate can't happen.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
is-
Can you make a request? We're going to start with the people who were not sharing last time. We're now going in ordination order again.
Oh.
And we might run out of time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, let's do the people who didn't do last time. Okay. Yeah, on this kind of thing, we don't have to go in ordination order. Come on. Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
This is my two-part consequence with a subject and point of clarification. The people of Hong Kong do not have the right to protest the actions of the Chinese government. Defender says, why? Challenger, it follows that the people of Hong Kong do have the right to protest the actions of the Chinese government. I accept. Give a reason justifying why the people of Hong Kong have the right to protest the Chinese government. Because the people of Hong Kong's freedoms are being threatened by the actions of the Chinese government. Goes into the next one.
Okay, now, somebody from Beijing would, first they would say, the reason is not established. And then after you prove that, they would say no pervasion. Oh, okay, so are you going into that?
The people of Hong Kong, subject, have the right to protest the actions of the Chinese government because their freedoms are being threatened by these actions. The defender, the reason is not established. Have the challenger spell it out. The reason the people of Hong Kong's freedoms is being threatened by the Chinese government's actions is not established. It follows that the people's freedoms are not being threatened by the actions of the Chinese government. I accept. It follows that the people of Hong Kong's freedoms is not being threatened by the Chinese government's actions because they are free to hold peaceful protests. I accept. It follows that the people of Hong Kong are free to hold peaceful protests because they get tear gas and rubber bullets used on them at protest. The pervasion is opposite. Stubborn person. It follows that if tear gas and rubber bullets are used on people of Hong Kong at protests, they are necessarily not free to hold peaceful protests. I accept. It follows that if the people of Hong Kong are not free to hold peaceful protests, their freedoms are being threatened by the Chinese government's actions. I accept. It follows that if the people of Hong Kong's freedoms are being threatened by the Chinese government's actions, they have the right to protest the actions of the Chinese government. I accept. Za. I win.
No, if somebody says, okay, there's no pervasion that if you get tear gas and rubber bullets used on you when you do pervasion, that you don't have, you're not free to hold peaceful protests. What happens if somebody says there's no pervasion? Okay. So then you say, okay,
No, you would say why.
yeah, you would say what? Yeah, okay, yeah, you would say why. And then the challenger would say, you know, if you you what?
So it should be up here.
The third one is the one that Venerable just gave, right? It follows that if tear gas and rubber bullets are used on the people of Hong Kong at protests, they're necessarily not free to hold.
No, I'm saying they are free to hold peaceful.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I'm saying it follows that if the tear gas and rubber bullets are used on the people of Hong Kong at protests, they are free to hold peaceful protests. Okay, then I accept, and then the challenger would say, I just had it a minute ago. Give a reason to justify that. And then the defender would say, if you have rubber bullets and so on used on you, you are still free to have peaceful protests because the rubber bullets are the violence coming from the other side. It's not coming from your side. So you can still have a peaceful protest even if they're shooting rubber bullets at you. Yeah, it's true.
It's not violent, it's not peaceful.
You're peaceful.
Well, it's not peace.
It's not a peaceful opposition, but it's a peaceful protest.
Yeah, but you're talking the people of Hong Kong can have a peaceful protest. So they can be peaceful even if the other side isn't.
I would say it's not violent, it's not peaceful.
You can have
The protest isn't peaceful. The protesters are peaceful. Right? If the protesters are peaceful, it follows that the protest is peaceful. It follows that they are having a peaceful protest. It doesn't necessarily follow that the whole protest together is peaceful, but they're having a peaceful protest. Okay, if somebody screams at you, if you are being calm and somebody screams at you, and you continue to be calm, aren't you being calm, even though somebody's screaming at you?
Yeah, but when I have a quiet interchange.
Yeah, but we're talking about having the freedom to have a peaceful protest. But, wait, she said we can't use that word.
However,
Where is she? There you are, yeah.
however, the protests, the people who are using the tear gas and rubber bullets are trying to break up your peaceful protest.
Right.
So that means you no longer have the freedom to hold that protest because they're trying to break it up.
No, just because somebody's trying to break it up, yeah.
If they manage to do it, you no longer have a peaceful
If
protest.
they manage to do it, what happens if they don't manage to do it? If you refuse to be violent in return, like Gandhi's
This has nothing to
protesters.
say about me being violent. This has something, I'm being hit by rubber bullets, I'm probably going to go home. Which means I'm no longer being able to have a peaceful protest.
Well, look at what Gandhi did.
Gandhi
Yeah.
didn't have rubber bullets being thrown at him.
It seems we need to define what freedom to protest means. What does that freedom mean?
Yeah.
Does that freedom mean that we have the right to protest without any consequence? Or does the freedom mean we have the right to go there and we accept whatever consequence or whatever reaction we get? So
Right.
what does this freedom mean?
Yeah. What does the meaning of freedom to protest mean? Yeah. So we're arguing because we have different definitions of the word.
That's right.
Yeah, that's why we need to come up with one
It's a debate.
we need to come up with a definition. That,
Protest turns violent the minute the protesters pick up rocks.
yeah,
Start firing at that thing.
yeah. Yeah. But the protesters have a choice. It's a difficult choice.
The challenger overheard the defenders say that Venerable Juke Joint is angry. So that's the syllogism the challenger wants to do.
Venerable Juke Joint.
Is angry because her face is red and her voice is loud. That's the syllogism. And Venerable Juke Joint has indeed it's just gender fluid. It's not a permanent change, okay? D, the subject and just the way Manjushri debated, it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not angry. Defender, why? So it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is angry. Defender, I accept it. Give a reason why you say Venerable Juke Joint is angry. Defender, Venerable Juke Joint is angry because her face is red. Challenger, it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is angry because her face is red. Defender, I accept it. It follows that this is the mistake. It follows that Venerable Juke Joint's face is not red. Defender, why do you say Venerable Juke Joint's face is not red? Venerable Juke Joint's face is not red because it is a face.
What?
Defender, there is no pervasion. Oh, then it follows that it is not the case that whatever is red is necessarily a color. Why? It follows that whatever is red is necessarily a color. I accept. Then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint's face is a color. Why? It follows that Venerable Juke Joint's face is not a color. I accept. It follows that Venerable Juke Joint's face is a color because it is red. You asserted the pervasion. But the defender says, nah, the reason is not established. So the challenger said, so it follows that Venerable Juke Joint's face is not red. Defender, I accept it. Then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not angry. Defender, why do you say Venerable Juke Joint is not angry? It follows that Venerable Juke Joint is angry. Defender, I accept it. Give a reason for saying that Venerable Juke Joint is angry. Defender has realized his mistake. Venerable Juke Joint is angry because the color of her face is red. Challenger, then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is angry because the color of her face is red. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that Buddha Amitabha is angry. Defender, why do you say Buddha Amitabha is angry? Buddha Amitabha is angry because the color of face is red. Defender, there is no pervasion. Challenger, so it follows that Buddha Amitabha is not angry. Defender, I accept. Challenger, give a reason why Buddha Amitabha is not angry. Defender, Buddha Amitabha is not angry because he is a Buddha and Buddhas have eliminated anger from their mind streams completely. Challenger, it follows that Buddha Amitabha is not angry because he is a Buddha and Buddhas have eliminated anger from their mind streams completely. Defender, I accept. Challenger, then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not angry. Defender, why is Venerable Juke Joint not angry? Challenger, Venerable Juke Joint is not angry because she is a Buddha. Defender, the reason is not established. So it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not a Buddha. Defender, I accept. Why do you say that Venerable Juke Joint is not a Buddha? Venerable Juke Joint is not a Buddha because she is angry. Challenger, Venerable Juke Joint is not a Buddha because she is angry. Defender, I accept. Why do you say that Venerable Juke Joint is angry? Venerable Juke Joint is angry because her voice is loud. Challenger, Venerable Juke Joint is angry because her voice is loud. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that the Buddha is angry. Defender, why do you say that the Buddha is angry? Challenger, the Buddha is angry because his voice can be heard throughout the three realms. Defender, there is no pervasion. Challenger, it follows that the Buddha's voice cannot be heard throughout the realms. Defender, why? So it follows that the Buddha's voice can be heard throughout the three realms. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that whatever voice is heard throughout the three realms is necessarily loud. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that the Buddha's voice is loud. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that the Buddha is angry because his voice is loud like Venerable Juke Joint's. You asserted the pervasion. Defender, the pervasion is opposite. Then it follows that whoever's voice is loud is necessarily not angry. Defender, there is no pervasion. Then it follows that whoever's voice is loud is not necessarily angry. Defender, I accept. Then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not necessarily angry. Defender, I accept. Challenger, tsa. Then it follows that Venerable Juke Joint is not necessarily angry because her face is red and her voice is loud. Defender, darn it, yes, I accept. Challenger, tsa. don't argue with her.
There's a mistake way back at the beginning.
Yeah. And it messes the whole thing up.
Is it
Where
here?
is that?
It's like, the color, yeah, the thing about the color,
Yeah.
the argument's right, but I couldn't
Because
get there right.
Whatever is face is not, it's necessarily red. It's necessarily not red.
Why is Venerable Duke Joyce's face is not
Oh,
red?
yeah.
Because it is a face.
Yeah, then you have to say,
That would be the non-provision.
the face is not red.
Not necessarily red.
Isn't it necessarily not? Do we have not necessarily, or is it necessarily not?
Necessarily.
I think
It's not necessarily.
It's necessarily not.
Necessarily not is opposite provision.
No, but here she's positing not red.
Right, so it's
Yeah.
not necessarily.
No, it's necessarily not. It's not necessarily not red.
No, if there's no provision, it means that whatever's a face is not necessarily red.
Yeah, is not, the not should go before the necessarily.
Then why? No. Whatever is the face.
Whatever is face
Would-
is not.
Okay, if you accepted the probation,
It's
whatever is
not
the face is
necessarily
necessarily not red. But because this is if there is no probation, you can say it's not necessarily not red. Because there's no probation.
Is not red. No, there's no provision. It follows that whatever is a face is necessarily red.
If there were probation, then whatever is a face would necessarily not be
Is
red.
not red because it is. Well, the provision would be
If there's no probation.
privation. So then you would say it follows that whatever is a face is necessary, is not necessarily red,
You have to know.
is necessarily not red.
Not
Red.
necessarily.
It isn't red.
It's red, it is.
Follows that whatever a face, well, anyway, they would say, whatever they say, the defender would say why, and then you would say, because a face is not a color.
Yeah, that's what I didn't ever say, and that's what needs to be said in there somewhere.
Yeah,
What does the defender reply? Why?
because
Well, it does come right up next.
I mean, that's.
because
Well, it's not-
because a face is necessarily not a color.
Instead of what I did say, that it follows that it is not the case that whatever is red is necessarily a color. No, that's right.
Yeah,
What you said, Duke Joyce's face is not red because it is a face. It would be better because it is not a color.
Oh, because it's not a color.
color. Yeah,
It's face
Wait,
is
wait,
not red
yeah.
because red is a color. No.
Yeah.
It's red
but you would.
because-
What you mean to say is the Venerable Juke Joint's face is not a red face, is not the color of red.
His face is not red. We already said
No, it's not the color. It does not have a color
follows that Venerable Duke Joint's face is not red, you already have.
Because it is not a color.
because, yeah,
So why
because
do you say Venerable Duke Joint is not red because a face is not a color?
yeah. That's why her face isn't red, because her, Because-
It's not red because a face is not a color,
Color.
but that doesn't have a property reason. The property is subject.
Venerable, it says an unexpected error is keeping you from copying the file. If you continue to receive this error, you can use the error code to search for help with this problem. Error code 0x800701888.
Don't make me go there. Okay, oh jeez, the cloud operation is not complete. Are you on the cloud? Yes, you have internet. Okay, let's get out of there. This one?
Mm-hmm. You want to talk about the color of Venerable Jig Joint's face being red, not her face being red. Oh. Okay, now let's see if it has at the end of it. All the way at the end.
Still loading.
Mm-hmm.
When it's finally loaded, then you can copy it and put it in an email and send it to her.
Okay.
That would be the easiest.
Okay.
Because whatever is a face is necessarily not a color.
Mm-hmm.
Necessarily not a color. Whatever is a face is up above the fourth line. Above deprivation. Because whatever is a face.
Mm-hmm.
That's what is not red because the face is not a color. Whatever is a face. Because whatever is a face is not a color. Necessarily not a color.
Mm-hmm.
That's better, yeah. Whatever is a face is necessarily not a color. Whatever is a face is necessarily not a color.
Wait a minute here. Follows as a future Buddha, albeit not established. Oh, okay. Follows whatever hinders the development.
Yeah.
Okay. There it is.
Okay.
Then you have to accept. Yeah, I guess you could just. No, because D wants to debate that, right? Yeah. So he's saying no provision. Yes.
Actually, by fixing that mistake, you get an accept early and none of that stuff.
Yeah,
You get the whole thing.
yeah. So you want this back to the face? No,
Mm.
that just needs some tinkering, because the rest of it does work, but unfortunately, that's a very high up mistake. Oh, can you say it is not a color? No, it's not. No, there's not red because it is not a color. Which is the same as last colors. Yeah, that would be clear.
Okay, I just sent you.
Yeah, okay. and revisit this. Just mark that as the turning point. And I'll go back and look at it. Is yours ready to go? Lily jukebox sign this one.
It follows that what hinders the development of one of the four immeasurables is a near enemy of that immeasurable.
Why?
It follows whatever hinders the development of one of the four immeasurables is not a near enemy of that immeasurable.
I agree.
It follows that personal distress is not a near enemy of compassion because it hinders the development of compassion.
It follows that what hinders the development of one of the... Oh, no, we switched. How is that? Okay, that was the end of one of it, yeah.
Do you have a definition of your enemy?
This is what what the debate is getting at. Because you made an example, and I'm taking issue with your example.
It follows that what hinders the development of one of the four immeasurables is a near enemy of that immeasurable.
I agree.
It follows that anger is a near enemy of love because it hinders the development of love.
I agree.
Anger is not a near enemy of love because it's a far enemy of love, and near and far enemy of an immeasurable are contradictory.
I agree.
Justify why anger isn't a near enemy of love.
Why?
So then,
Oh. Yeah, the defender could alternatively say why.
yeah. No, I put an or because,
But why would you ask for justification if you?
yeah, right. No, but then so you don't need a justification there. Yeah. Okay, so do you understand, are you clear what a near enemy and a far enemy is? Not yet. Okay.
Anger is not a near enemy of love because a near enemy is something that is close to that immeasurable and can be mistaken for that immeasurable by someone who is not mindful. And anger is clearly the opposite of love.
Okay, so a near enemy is something that is near, that's close to that immeasurable, that can be mistaken for that one if your mind is not discriminating things very well. A far enemy is something that is the total opposite. So you see near and far.
So arrogance is neither in relation to love. Arrogance is not a near enemy nor a far enemy in relation. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it follows that arrogance is not a near enemy because it's not mistaken for love, and it's not a far enemy because it's not contradictory to love.
Yeah, but it's it could be a friend. a friend, yeah. Yeah, it could be well, how would, what is the relationship between love and arrogance? Or how does arrogance
Mutually exclusive.
They're mutually exclusive. Okay, how can arrogance interfere with love?
If one is puffed up about one's own capacity or qualities or possessions or status, then one is focused on oneself and is not thinking of the happiness of others.
Mm-hmm. But somebody who is puffed up about their own stuff isn't necessarily not focused on the happiness of others.
It follows that arrogance and love can be in the same continuum at the same time?
Possible. I mean, not at the exact same moment, but couldn't somebody be quite arrogant, oh, I have such a beautiful car, this is so good, but I also am looking at what's happening at the border and I have compassion for the people. Yeah? Couldn't somebody think like that? Hmm? Yeah?
I think, I don't know how to say this in this language yet, but I think that the element of arrogance that hinders love for a particular person, arrogance towards a person, in relationship with a person that hinders love towards that person is the lack of respect for that person.
Mm-hmm.
Because love necessitates
Okay.
a level of respect for the person that you love.
Yeah, okay. Then my question is, if it is a hindrance to developing love, is it necessarily a near enemy or a far enemy?
Oh, it's a hindrance. It's a condition. It's like a unsuitable cooperative condition.
Okay, what
for
are
developing love.
what are the points? Do the muji, the possibilities between something that is a hindrance to love and something that is either a near enemy or a far enemy of love? So what's something that's
Yeah,
both?
something that's both a hindrance to love and a near or far enemy
Yeah, near or far.
would be hatred.
Mm-hmm.
Hatred is a far enemy of love. Attachment is a near enemy of love.
Mm-hmm.
So either of those,
Okay.
they are a hindrance to love.
Okay. And then what is something that is a hindrance to developing love, but is not a near
Or far
a near
enemy.
or
It'd be
far enemy?
arrogance towards that person that you are wishing to have happiness and the causes of happiness.
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, okay.
Or
Or
love.
lack of respect.
Yes.
Arrogance.
Lack of respect.
Yeah.
Yes.
And then what is not a hindrance to the development of love, but is you're reading off what I did. You got to think for yourself. But what is,
What is the first
but
one?
what is
A
either
hindrance,
a near
but
enemy
not
or
a,
a far enemy?
oh, we did the hindrance. Now we knew what is a near or far enemy, but not a hindrance.
But not a hindrance.
I don't think there's anything.
Just nothing. Okay. And
So-
what's
so
neither?
that means it's probably got three possibilities.
Yeah. And
Three
what's neither?
possibilities would be, let me think of something good. Probably the feeling component of neutral.
Yeah.
I could say a cat, but I
You-
wanted
or
to come up with
cat or
something.
Or a visual consciousness,
Yeah, something-
apprehending blue, or, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Is that clearer now? The meaning of near enemy and far enemy?
Clearly, I didn't understand the meaning of near enemy.
Okay. Do people understand? Yeah. Okay. Okay. Then. Okay. Then the next one. Yeah. It follows. There is no purpose to debate. Okay, somebody read it.
It follows there is purpose to debate. Why? Justify there is no purpose to debate.
I didn't put in all the repetitions in there. I was too lazy, so you should probably put them in. Yeah.
Justify why there is no purpose to debate. Well, that's kind of a critical thing to write, Venerable. What were you thinking?
No, but when you say
accept.
No, go. Okay. Well, there's no I accept it follows. There is purpose to it. Why? Why it follows.
The exception, why would they reverse it?
Yeah.
Huh? Oh, right. Oh, no, he accepted the wrong thing.
So you can take this out and go straight to justifying.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
No,
Maybe.
because why means no, I don't believe that. So then justify. But he accepted it already.
He accepted there's no purpose to debate. So when you say there is a purpose, then he's going to say why. He's keeping his same position. It follows that there is. Wait, why are you crossing it out?
Because he accepted this.
Yeah, so you can still contradict him.
He wants him to say it.
Okay, so then the challenger says, well, no, then the challenger just says the opposite. It follows there is a purpose to debate. That's okay to say.
Okay, then they can say why.
Yeah, and then the defender says why. And then you ask the defender to justify his position, justify why there is no purpose to debate.
Right, oh, okay, so you're basically, you would repeat that their position.
Yeah, you're asking the person to justify what they said. So what are they going to say?
There is no purpose to debate because it just makes people irritated. And feel bad about themselves.
So there is a purpose. When you want to make
There
your
is no
enemy
purpose.
unhappy, then you debate with them and make them irritated and unhappy.
I would say, instead of what you're saying, I would say, he says justify, there's no purpose. I would say, because there's no purpose to this discussion we're having. What we're having is a debate.
That's fair.
No evasion.
No, that doesn't. Oh, there is no purpose. No, because you're changing what the subject is. You have to talk about, it follows that there is no purpose to this debate because it's a debate. Now, that doesn't tell you anything. Yeah, I mean, then there's no, the reason isn't established.
It's an absurd outcome.
What's your subject? With the subject debate, there is no purpose? In that last?
Yeah, debate has no purpose.
Okay, debate has no
Yeah. Debate has no purpose because it's a debate. Yeah. Reject. Okay. Now, I was assuming that the defender was a reasonable person and the debate ended there. I didn't know that you were going to be the defender and come up with something stupid. Okay. Okay. So anyway, so the challenger says, it follows there is a purpose to debate. Okay, and the defender says, I accept. And the challenger says, how many purposes of debate are there? And the defender says 5, and the challenger says, name them. And the defender says, And then the challenger gives them a hint and says, there are 3 purposes to debate. Why? Because to reveal and defeat a mistaken idea, to establish a correct position, and to overcome objections to that position are the 3 purposes of debate. Okay, and the defender says, reason is not established, so then you have to go through why each one of those is a purpose of debate. And then I put in the thing about, how about if the defender asks why there aren't more purposes? Like impressing somebody. Okay, so to reveal and defeat a mistaken idea is not a purpose of debate. It follows that to reveal and defeat a mistaken idea is the purpose of debate.
The or Did you just say?
Hmm?
Did you just say the or
Purpose. A purpose. Yeah. And then what are you saying? I accept. Okay. Good. You're being very cooperative. Okay, somebody else. Establishing a correct position is not a purpose of debate. It follows that establishing a correct position is a purpose of debate. Yeah. What about instead of saying why, if you said, when I said it follows that establishing a correct position is not a purpose of debate, you said, I agree. Yeah, then I say justify why establishing a correct position is not a purpose of debate.
But it's too hard.
So what?
Because it's debatable.
Yeah. So okay, because so what would I say to refute that when she says it's too hard? Establishing a correct.
So it follows that just because something is too hard means it's not a worthy endeavor?
worthy of endeavor. We're talking about a purpose of debate.
So then you have to establish that the establishing a correct position is a worthy endeavor. Yeah, and that you want to establish that, and then you want to refute the pervasion that whatever is difficult is not a worthy endeavor. Now, I'm just giving the outline of it, not all the lines. Maybe we should take that home and figure it out ourselves. Oh.
When this happens, the next step is to leave out the subject and take the predicate and the reason and make the predicate the next subject and the reason the next predicate, and then come up with another reason. So it would be, when you say give a reason to justify, give a reason that the subject, which is justifying.
I'm not clear where you are in the debate. Because
I'm right there.
But wait, I said there were.
I'm right there.
Okay.
So when you got to that point, then I think that and then the defender says it's too hard. That's the
Yeah.
reason.
Okay.
So then the next step from there would be to take, it follows that the purpose, the purpose of debate
establishing a correct position is not hard.
is not hard.
Hard.
Yeah, the purpose of debate, it's a little hard to do.
Yeah.
Because the subject, I thought, in that one up there had to do with establishing a correct position. The thesis there is not a purpose of debate, and the reason is because it's too hard.
Yeah.
So then you leave out the subject and you take the predicate.
Yeah. So you would say
hard to do, though.
establishing a correct position.
No, you leave that out. The purpose of debate is hard, it's not hard, or is hard because, you're trying to get rid of that. The purpose of debate is not hard. Yeah, it doesn't really work. You can't get it to work. Anyway, that's what I thought we were taught to do in the book, but
Yeah.
I can't get it to work at all.
No, I wouldn't hang on to that at that moment. I would say establishing a correct position is not hard because if you put energy into it, you can do it. Yeah.
It follows that there's no pervasion because it follows that if you put energy into it and you can do it, that it's necessarily not hard. But sometimes we do put energy into doing things that because they are hard. We do them anyway.
Yeah,
So there's no
that's-
pervasion.
Yeah, so that's,
But that's the challenger has to speak now.
what does being hard mean? Does it mean you can't do it, or does it mean that, what, that it takes energy to accomplish it? If it takes energy to accomplish it, then you say,
It means it's not easily accomplished. It's hard because it's not easily accomplished.
Okay, but if you, but if you just mean that, that's okay. But usually, often when we say it's hard, then it means you can't do it. Yeah, if you're just saying it's hard, then I would say, being hard is not a reason for not doing something. Yeah.
Maybe it has nothing to do with being hard. Maybe it has nothing
To do with being hard. Yeah.
Can be something else.
Yeah. But the person's saying it's hard. Resistance.
Fear.
Fear?
Fear.
Fear, yeah. Fear of what?
Death.
Death? That you're going to die? And that prevents you from, where are we in this debate? Confused.
Go far away in past lives.
Yeah. Okay, so maybe let's stop here because it's late, but there's 3 purposes for debate. So go back, your homework for this week is go back and have a debate. You have to go through each one and prove why each one is a reason for is a purpose for debate.
I will send this around. Thank you for being the secretary.
So keep the other two debates for next week, okay? Okay, so figure out how you're going to prove the three reasons, and then think of some other debates. I think it is, don't you feel we need some more practice with this? Yeah? Okay.
And then we can hear the ones that we didn't hear tonight.
Huh?
There's still more from tonight that we haven't heard.
Yeah, oh, still more? Oh, okay. Oh, that's right, yeah, you all did them. Okay, so next week we'll go through the rest of them. We'll finish up this one and then we'll go through the rest of them.